I need? Do I need like a cardboard or?
There's a supply list that Joran put on the chat, I think.
Oh.
You need fabric if you have like 2 old hankies, if you have bandanas, cotton or linen napkins that you hate because they're ugly.
Oh, okay.
Piece of an old tablecloth. You can use the edge of a shirt.
I'm gonna use a t-shirt today.
A t-shirt is not
No?
best.
Okay, I could use fabric too.
Stretchy.
It's too stretchy. All right, I'll use fabric then.
So
Lots of stuff.
if you have a dress shirt, this is one of Jed's shirts, you can use not the button side, but the side with the buttons, and you'll just cut off the buttons. So you have a nice finished edge.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so fleece would be good, right?
A t-shirt, what?
Fleece?
Fleece, no, you have dye. You'll be too hot.
Oh, right. That's right. Okay.
How about flannel pajamas?
A little hot, like a lot. You have to balance 2 things. So one is keeping the coronavirus from coming in. So if all you cared about was keeping the coronavirus from coming in, you would take saran wrap and wrap it around your face. But then the problem is you would die.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that. So the other thing you need is something that's breathable. But if it's too breathable, it lets in too much coronavirus. So I'm still not officially starting. So you need something that's kind of in the balance. Somebody from my sewing list said, that's great, Naomi.
This is fine. This is what do you call this fabric with the bumps? Seersucker. It's like
Seersucker. I have made let me get some of the ones I've made recently. I'll be right back.
But how big do you need?
Wait, I'll get there.
I think she's saying 10 by 10.
All right. I just have scraps. I'm trying to, figure out what to use.
Scraps are great.
So, Sarah, I was reading one article. This is Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
I was reading an article somewhere about, they said 100% cotton or linen is really good, or sheets.
Yes.
Because they were trying to balance the breathability. So they said if it's 100% cotton t-shirt, that was good. But if it was like synthetic, it wasn't as good.
Right. So I am going to, all right. So why don't I officially start again?
Good.
We have, Roberta, are you there? Oh, I see your head. You're still there.
I'm still here, cutting away and stuff like that.
Okay, so I'm going to start at the beginning. So we need to wear the mask for 2 reasons. One is in case you have coronavirus, you don't want to breathe corona poison on everybody else. And the other reason is that you don't want everybody else's spitty coronavirus to come into you. So you need to create a barrier. So like I just said 2 seconds ago, a great barrier is saran wrap, but that means you die. So that's bad. I've been on this sewing discussion group for there are a couple of thousand members from all over the world. And for the last bunch of time, they've been sending all these articles around from all these different scientists.
What happened?
So there was a study from Oxford that said even just 1 piece of cotton over your face will keep away 50% of the coronavirus that's in the air. So that's pretty good. So the masks that I'm making are 2 layers, because what's even better is if you have inside, if you have a pocket, like I have here. So here's a mask, and it's 2 layers of fabric, and there's a pocket, and you put a different material inside. So there are a lot of choices of the material to put inside. Apparently, coffee filters are very good for this. Some people say that vacuum cleaner bags are very good. Some people say like a piece of silk creates this electromagnetic reaction that keeps other stuff out. A piece of polyester. So you need, or a knit piece of fabric inside, so it creates like different size holes and like they're different surface tensions. I'm not enough of a scientist. So you have enough different surface tensions so that what you breathe in gets filtered out. So the next question is, I think Lois started to ask about what size. So if our faces were flat, you would just need, like if your face was a square, you would just need, a flat piece of fabric. But our faces are kind of ovals, and we have noses that project and chins that project. So in order to deal with that, and the sides of your face don't project as much, it's helpful to have pleats. So that's why so many of the masks are pleated. But before I talk about the size of the fabric, there have been a bunch of videos online about taking like a bar mitzvah yarmulke, folding it in half, adding elastic, and putting that on. So before I do this, there's a charming one from a funeral director. I'd already pulled out my hearing aid, from a funeral director in I don't know where, and he does it with a staple. I tried to do it with a stapler, did not work. So I stitched it, made a little channel. I used regular elastic. The problem is if you have hair, it kind of pulls. I offset it so there's room for a pocket. And I'm putting it on.
Wow.
And it looks great, but the only problem is that when you talk, it doesn't work. So in an emergency, maybe, but I would get not the cute bar mitzvah lined ones, but the really cheap one layer ones, because the polyester is nasty to breathe through. Like if you like to breathe, don't use the polyester. All right. So I'm going to put my hearing aid back in. You should also know that if you wear hearing aids and you put on a mask with elastic, take out your hearing aid, and you have glasses, so you have a lot of stuff going on behind your ears. Hi, Judy.
Hi.
So take out your hearing aids, put on the mask, then put your hearing aids pop back in. Otherwise, you will lose your hearing aids and freak out like I did several weeks ago. Okay, so what you need for fabric is cotton, linen. If you have something that has hems on it already, like hankies, like I have some handkerchiefs come in 2 different sizes, mostly. There's like a smaller ladies handkerchief size, that's the size you want. But if your dead relatives did not leave you lady handkerchiefs, it's a little trickier. So if all you have is, men's giant handkerchiefs, because I guess they have bigger snot, you might need to fold it in half. And I don't know, play with the size, because this is really too big. So let's talk about size. So the standard size I've been seeing is about 9.5 by about 7.5. So you need fabric that is about that size. Now, if you have a big head, I have a big head, there are people with bigger heads than I do, you'll need a bigger size. If you're making this for a little kid, it needs to be smaller. But what it needs to cover is this. So,
Could you the dimensions again? Sorry.
so they're 9.5 by 7.5, more or less.
Okay,
So,
got it.
Lois, you're also a person with a large head. You have a lot of thoughts in there. So, and also none of this is like super exact science. You make it a little bigger, it'll be a little bigger. You make it a little smaller, it'll be a little smaller. Like there is no mask police that's gonna like come and hit you if you sew this wrong.
Right, okay.
So the nice thing about using the hankies is that it's all hemmed. It's very tidy. So if you happen to have two hankies that are more or less the same size, what you'll do, you'll leave the top open so you have a pocket, and you sew here. You sew the three sides in a U. And if you have that, you can start sewing and you're golden. And if you don't, we'll go on to other options. So I set up a whole bunch of samples going in order. And people should also say if they don't have the right stuff, it's like, oh, I don't have an iron, I don't have a, just stop me. You want a finished top. So the way to do that, so we're doing it out of order that you would normally think to do it. And I'm normally sort of a fast and furious seamstress, but in order to, it helps to finish off the top. So a nice way to do it, and I did it a little bit the way Julia Child used to do on the cooking shows, and boom, something was finished. So I have a square, the piece that's roughly 9 by 7 of fabric, and I pressed in a fold. It's like a little bit. It's I judged it based on what's comfortable for my fingers to fold over. And I have my iron here and show you how I did that.
Sarah, is this before you sew it?
Yes.
Sew it together?
Yeah, I mean, you could do it after, but it's a little bit, what I'm trying to prevent is cursing as you sew. It helps to do some of the steps out of logical order because it will make your life easier.
Oh, I'm just wondering if I pinned it together, would I need to?
You can pin. I hate pins because like I lose them and I find them in my feet. Hi, Sandra. So whatever works for you, but you're going to need to, because I have the second piece of, where did I, okay. And then you turn it again.
Oh, okay, twice. Sarah, can I show you something?
Yes.
So I have this, I just found this old like shirt that I'm gonna use, and it has this, I don't know if you can see it. It has like a string because it's the bottom of an old shirt that had like, so I'm thinking of cutting it here, and then I'll have the hem basically on the top. Do you see that?
If you do that, you need it to be, it's going to be a little tricky to cut and not cut the strings. It's going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass, but if you're willing to do that, go ahead. That string will go up on top of your head, and then you'll need to have another one down at the bottom.
Right, so I would have to do the hem at the bottom.
Right, but what you also, I think what you really want is the strings on the side because you want it gathered up on the sides rather than along the top.
Mm.
So
Okay, so go ahead. I'll see what you're doing with where the string goes in or the
the
elastic.
string goes in on the sides.
Can you show yours again?
The elastic goes in on the sides.
Got it.
What you can do with that shirt, Hillary, is use the strip where the buttons are, snip off the buttons, and use that as your top edge.
There's no buttons. It's a pullover.
Oh, you can.
I could
trying
still
to
use
use that
it, but just take out the string.
Yeah, pull out the elastic and the string, just like snip one end, pull it all out, and then use that as your top edge. And that will be about 7 by, you want 9 by 7, I think. Yes.
The way around,
No,
the way around.
no, you want it wide,
9 wide.
9 wide.
9 wide.
9 is before you sew, before you fold it
Yeah.
under.
And if it's a slightly different size, it's okay.
But if it's already finished, then it can be a little smaller.
Yeah, I find that it's actually comfortable under the chin.
I have a finished
Favorite
pin.
mask, I'll show you, it's 2 hankies sewn together. And my dear friend from college, Helene Swarn, made two masks like this, and I thought, this is like crazy brilliant. So there was this white hanky, and then this plaid hanky for the back, and it fits deep under the chin. It's like, it's 2 layers of linen. It's super comfortable. I love this one. So it can be a little bigger. All right, so you've, let's say, pressed it twice. Now, suppose you don't have an iron, which a lot of people don't, but I think all of you do. But if you don't have an iron, you take a big spoon and stick it in the gas flame until it's really hot, and then you use that to press the seams. I tried it, it actually works pretty well.
So Sarah, do you want to do that on all the sides that aren't finished or just one side that isn't finished?
No, you just do this at the beginning, on the first, turn the first 2. And then after you've turned the seam so it's a clean finish, because you're going to wash these, it's going to go through the washing machine a lot, hopefully. Then you stitch it. Now, I use the decorative machine stitch on my sewing machine because it's big and you can see it, and it's also cute. You know, I made a lot of them, so I have to keep myself from getting bored. But you can also just hand stitch across this.
Okay.
And you do it for 2 of them.
Oh.
Is anyone actually sewing now or no?
Yeah, I could sew now. I have the hand stuff.
All right.
I'll do it pretty quickly.
So once you have 2, and they really don't have to be super exactly the same size. Like these are not exactly the same size. It's okay. So after you do that, you put them together backwards, you know, with the nice sides together, and you stitch the bottom.
Wait.
Wait a second. We have to catch up with you.
You did say wrong sides together, right, Sarah?
Yes. No,
Wrong
right
side-
sides together.
side.
Sorry.
Right together. Sorry. Yes.
And because if you're sewing by hand, you want it to be clean and you don't want it to disintegrate.
Right.
Now, you don't have to sew beautifully. You really don't.
Because we're not.
My grandmother taught me how to sew, but like it makes it sound like it's like, oh, some like lovely, wonderful couture level sewing. It was not. My grandmother had a lot of trouble seeing, and it would take us all afternoon to thread a needle, and her stitches were like this big.
Yeah.
You can sew like mama. It's okay. But we're going to make it strong enough so even if you sew like mama, it'll work. Because that's the whole point. Like you'll keep doing it. They'll get gorgeous in 5 of them or 10 of them. But for the moment, it's just about making them work. So Lois, what are you up to at this point?
So I pinned the bottom. I'm not stitching. I just pinned the bottom together, right?
Just hand stitch right across. And then once you've done that, you turn it right sides out, and then you press it because it's better. And pressing it gives you a nice, like an easier surface for stitching. So you press it, and if you have trouble knowing where to stitch, just draw a line with pencil, like with a ruler and pencil. Like there are no sewing police who are going to check your work. and you top stitch on the outside. I used a cute stitch. It doesn't matter.
You top stitched on the top where you folded it over, you mean?
Right. So this is the wrong sides out. I mean, I was doing the samples with the fabric I had around. Nothing matches, you know, whatever. So it was stitched on the inside, and then I top stitched it again. So it's you'll have a clean finish, and then when you put it in the wash, it's not going to fall apart. And you could
Okay.
just use like a regular running stitch, you know, whatever stitch somebody taught you when you were 6 years old. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just do it.
All right, wait a second. I'm a little bit behind, but go ahead. I'll ask you.
Wait. Who needs help?
I do.
I'm stitching my second now. I
I'm
mean,
still on my
Okay.
first.
So I can wait. I can wait till you catch up.
Wait for us. Wait for us.
Is the finish that you just did is going to be on the bottom?
Yes,
Okay.
because you want a pocket on the top for your filter.
Okay.
So basically we do the same thing twice in terms of hemming the top.
Yeah,
And then once we've hemmed 2 tops,
you stitch it right sides together. Let me find my sample.
other side,
You do it, first stitch it right sides together. It's nicer if you press it and turn it. And then stitch on the outside. You top stitch on the outside.
Wait, do you have to top stitch on the outside, Sarah?
It will make it a little sturdier,
Okay.
because you should really wash these every day you go out. And what will happen is when you wear them, after a while they smell like your breath, which is like you don't want to put that on.
Right. No, I get that.
You know, they get a little like,
Yes.
And Sarah, this is Judy. Hi.
Hi, Judy.
Are you suggesting that we sew each side separately, or no? Once we have a hem there, we sew it together?
No, the first time you stitch the
Stitch it.
hem
Okay.
on the tops,
Of each
or
one.
2 tops on each one,
Okay.
and then you sew the 2 of them together,
Great.
first with the pretty sides together, and then you
Perfect.
turn
Perfect.
them
Perfect.
and
Thank
stitch again.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
but
What
are
if-
you sewing the 2 hems together?
No, you sew the wrong side. You sew it where you did the hem on the top, but
Yeah.
what you're sewing together is the bottom.
Okay.
wait, say that again. You're not sewing the 2 turned over? Like, you're not sewing these 2
Put
things?
it closer. You sew
In
the,
other words, these are the hems that I did, right?
and did you stitch them across?
Yes, they're both stitched across.
Great.
Then I don't sew, I thought I sewed that together.
No, you sew the raw bottom together.
Oh.
Oh, that's not raw. The nice thing is that that's also where it's solid, but you still sew that together.
No, what you have on the stuff that you hemmed,
Yes,
leave as it is. Go to the bottom and stitch that first inside out with the pretty sides on the inside, and
Yes.
then flip them. And if you can iron it, it's a little nicer. If you don't have an iron there, skip that, you know, just kind of mush it together. And then you top stitch it with the pretty sides out.
okay, got it.
If you messed it up and like one of the pieces is backwards, I'm not going to yell at you.
Thank you.
Do we get grades?
Hope
Yeah,
not.
I'm really strict.
I'm teasing. You're great. This is wonderful.
Thank you for doing this with us.
Yes.
Okay, I lost my needle.
Oh, I'll lend you one. I got a whole can.
No, it means I'm gonna step on it.
It's in the couch.
Oh, that's why I don't do pins. Jed once, oh, it's so bad. He had stepped on a needle
Oi.
and it was really bad. And then we got it out, and then it turned, and he had this like sore in his foot for
Uh-oh.
months. And then we went to the doctor, and it was like this whole giant rusty needle came out of his foot.
Ah!
I am a bad mother.
How long ago was
In
that?
his memoir.
He was maybe 10 or 11. It was, I still like feel terrible about that.
You're a great mother. The best.
But it's like one of those things where you go, oh.
All right, so now.
And also, this is being recorded so you can go back and,
Oh, thank goodness. How do we get the
Hooray.
recording?
what, who asked?
How do we get the recording? Is it on Ansche Chesed or?
We'll figure out what's the best way to post
Thank
it.
you.
Either we'll put it on our Facebook page or our web or YouTube page or something. We'll figure it out.
I'm gonna need it.
And if your two pieces are like not exactly the same size, you kind of center them more or less.
Oh, I just screwed this up.
All right, I'm going to do a quick stitching across.
Good sides next to each other.
Okay, and okay, you can all thread needles, but a simple way to do it is to kind of pinch the thread between your fingers and then plop the eye of the needle over that little pinched bit of thread. And I don't know why, but it works all the time. So let me know when we're ready to go on to the next step. Let's see what the chatty people are saying. All right, I'm closing the chat window. I'm sewing like my grandmother.
What are you sewing, Sarah? The
I
bottom?
am doing the 2 layers facing each other. I'm just doing giant ugly stitches.
So Sarah, I have a question. I'm just wondering if I could avoid sewing one of the sides by just folding the same material
You can,
and making the pockets then still at the top.
yes.
Oh, what a good idea.
Okay.
I folded it also, but I have no idea what you just said. I don't understand when we do the pockets yet, so.
Oh,
I don't think she explained it.
well, these 2 layers will magically turn into the pocket. I mean,
Okay.
the sides are all going to be sewn up. All right, so I just did going one way because I sewed ugly because I don't care. And
We're back in home economics.
I know, but I'm not making you feel bad about
I
yourself.
know, right.
So this is my ugly
Teachers are
stitching.
the meanest, yes.
Like this is not ugly. It's like kind of straight. It's a little crooked. It's okay.
That's how I sew.
All right, so now I'm going to iron it. And if you iron it flat, see, it looks gorgeous, even though you all know how ugly my stitching was. And then I fold it.
Wait, don't fold it yet because we have to see what you're doing.
All right. So then what I do, like I ironed it flat, so it looks gorgeous. It looks like I actually did something nice. And then I just fold it so it's pretty much straight.
Fold what?
I
Yeah.
folded, I seamed the 2 pieces together
Right.
and I fold it on the seam. If you have an iron, it's nice. It makes everything look better.
First you flip it inside out. First you flip it right side in or something after you've sewn the
Yeah,
two
first
together.
you do it, so you stitch inside out. And now I'm ready to sew. This is called top stitching. It has an actual name.
Okay.
So I'm going to be stitching across here. And this will strengthen the seam, and if you sew nicely, you know, it'll look adorable. And if you don't sew so nicely, it won't look quite so adorable.
All right, Sarah, I'm confused. You're sewing the sides now, or we already did the bottom, right?
It's still on the bottom.
Oh, we are. Oh, okay.
Well, we did
So
the bottom.
just do a row of stitching across that seam that you sewed. So like the raw yucky edge is on the inside, and you're enclosing all the raw yucky disgusting stuff on the inside.
Okay.
So the fancy name for that is top stitching.
Okay. So I will do top stitching.
So Sarah, the pocket's going to be where the folded part is, where the finished part is, right? The pocket.
The pocket is going to be on that open finished side,
Right.
There's an open finish side? Oh, yeah, yeah.
where you have the two little hems on the top.
Yeah, okay. Some more thread.
Because I wanted to be, I'm less concerned about the gorgeousness, and I'm more concerned about it's being sturdy. So now I'm trying to thread the needle, and I'm talking at the same time. Let's see if I can. So
I am needles threaded.
and you pinch it through, and it works. You don't even have to see well, which is why I like it.
I always used to thread needles for my grandmother. That was my job.
Me too. But I was 5. I didn't have the, like almost 5. I was like 4. I didn't have the manual dexterity.
Oh no.
And Mama had a bunch of strokes, and she didn't have the manual dexterity, and she couldn't see. So
She has a lot of
it was
you.
a afternoon long activity.
Oh.
When I taught kindergarten, my kindergartners threaded the needles for me. They were
You're
good.
kidding. Whoa.
They were good.
It was because you're a good teacher now.
So I'm just, now let's see. I'm just stitching, and if you kind of pull the needle back a little bit as you sew, I don't know if you can, am I doing it so you can see it? Oh, now I'm like Martha Stewart. And you kind of like pull the needle back, so that way you get tiny stitches that look a little better. Oh, you can see them. It's a little easier to see them here.
We're still talking about the bottom, right?
We're sewing the bottom, we're top stitching the bottom.
We're top stitching the bottom, right? Okay.
And I could be like Julia Child. I have the, I'm trying to, I have the next, I have the finished sample of that.
Sarah, I have to go. Can you give me just a quick high-level preview of the pleats?
Yes. So after we do this, what we're going to do is press in folds. This is called a box stitch. So it looks like this on the front. So the two pieces are pleated on the front. You stitch this down here, and then
But you're stitching on the top down?
you stitch it from the top to the bottom,
Oh, okay.
and then you'll turn it, and you'll encase your stretchy elastic. This is a piece of jersey,
Oh, okay.
and you stitch it twice. You turn it so it looks cute, so you don't have a disgusting edge. And then you put the you sew the elastic inside, so that, because threading the elastic through is it's a big pain in the tushy. So if you stitch it in, it makes it easier, and then you knot it. If you're using either elastic or like a stretchy material. And I realize you can use the, like, if you have old yoga pants, you can cut rings from the legs of the yoga pants.
And then what would you do with the rings from the legs?
You could use those as your elastic.
I still didn't get the pleat part. Is that one of the two pieces of fabric?
You do it with both.
Could you show us?
Oh, but you're not there yet, right?
I'm not there yet. I'm doing I'm
Okay.
going for Hillary, who has a minion to go to.
Yeah, I'm gonna go, but I'll try to watch the recording if I get the.
But the pleat, so you kind of push a pleat in the top, you push a pleat in the bottom, and then it turns into a box pleat, which is the fancy name for it. So it's a pleat going in two directions. A lot of the standard ones just have a series of pleats. I find this a little easier to do because you do two pleats and it's done.
Okay. All right. I get the idea. Thank you so much.
You're well. It's good to see your face.
Good to see you. Thank you. This was really fun. You need to have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
You do.
And keep sending pictures of the Arboretum.
Okay, I will.
And
Take
maybe
care.
Jamaica Pond if you get there. I miss it. I miss the little island.
Take care. Good to
All
see
right,
you.
Sarah, look.
Ooh. So Roberta, did you top stitch that also?
Yep, here's the top stitch.
And also so there it is. Great.
It's a little uneven, but I guess we'll figure it out. It'll
All right. So now I guess I have to show you how to do. So you guys work on finishing top stitching.
Right.
Is everyone okay? Roberta, maybe we should wait a little bit
Yeah, I can
until
wait.
everybody
That's no
catches
problem.
up. And because the pleating is a little, it's hard to explain in words, but if I show you, it'll be easier. Like if I did it in words, it would just make you crazy.
Oh, I just lost my needle too.
Oh, I found it. Oh, at least thank God.
Don't step on it.
Oh, no, where did it go? I'm not bothering with the ironing now because I feel like I can do that afterwards if I'm just learning how now.
You will curse less.
I should go grab my iron.
That's my goal, is reducing cursing.
All right, I can go get it.
Because like I know, like in sewing class, we were all told like, oh, you have to iron after every step. And, you know, when I make my clothes, I really don't do that. With a lot of stuff, I don't do it, but there are times when you really need to.
Okay, I'll go get
So, did any of you take sewing like in middle school?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was not really all that successful, but my mother had a sewing machine. Oh, I found elastic thread in my sewing kit, but it's very thin.
Yeah, that might, some of it, make sure the stretch is still there, because sometimes old rubber,
20 years old.
sometimes old rubber dies like a really sad death.
Yeah.
Some of it doesn't like heat.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna thread one more because I didn't have quite enough to go across.
Hi, Sarah. It's Hannah.
Hannah, how are you
Hi.
doing?
I'm good. Can you imagine work actually got in the way of this, but so I'm joining late.
Okay, but
Could you just tell me, what were the dimensions of the first piece of fabric you started with?
you should start with two pieces that are roughly 9.5 by 7.5.
Okay.
And if your head is bigger, you should do more.
Okay.
If your head is smaller, you can get away with less. And it needs to fit from, okay, gotta show the right part of me. From your nose, like the bridge of your nose till under your chin. And
Right.
from, you know, across here and here.
Okay. Got it.
If you have handkerchiefs that are like you have around, or bandanas or something like that, you can use, that's fine. Apparently tea towels are supposed to be extra fabulous. like old linen dish towels.
Okay.
I don't know why, but they are.
But the thin kind, right? I mean, you wouldn't use a thick dish towel, right? Because you wouldn't be able to
You
breathe.
wouldn't use terry cloth unless you decided you did not like breathing.
Right.
You don't want to breathe, use saran wrap for your mask. Okay, I'm almost done with the stitching. Let's see if people are done with that bit of top stitching, because then we're going to do a part that is a little tricky. And okay, I'm going to tie a knot.
And Sarah, I want to be certain. So when I'm attaching these guys together, I only need to iron it after I fold it over, right?
Ask your question again.
Okay, so I'm sewing like I'm placing these guys together.
Yeah.
And then I only need to iron it after I folded it over, right?
After you finish sewing.
Sewing. Okay.
Then you iron it because it makes the next.
Oh yes,
perfect.
Perfect.
It just makes it easier.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
If it was just to like make some mean sewing teacher happy, I wouldn't ask you to do it.
Okay.
I only ask you to do stuff because it will make your life easier.
Okay.
When I first started to do this, I sewed up the sides early on in the process, and it made everything else harder. So that's why I'm doing it in a way that feels illogical.
Right. But you
So,
learned
Sarah,
right.
this is mine now, okay?
Right.
And I sewed the top stitch over there, I guess, and then this opens like that.
Perfect. And now, and you top stitch the bottom. So
Right.
everyone ready? Lois, are you ready for the next step?
Yeah, I'm kind of working in between. I'm watching. Yes.
All right. So
I'm not doing, I'm just writing everything down.
all right. So let me show you how to do the box pleat, because that's really, because you need it to be able to open up over your mouth and your chin. Not everybody has a chin that sticks out as much as I do, but that's another present from Mama. So I am going to see if I can get this focused on me. Okay, so I'm going to press it again just because I am. I'm going to have the shorter side. So the shorter side is in the back and the longer side is in the front. And what you should understand is that, sorry, I didn't want to make you nauseous. You know, everybody's hands are a little different. So you have to work with what you have. I machine stitched this, so the threads that I'm going to trim. All right, goodbye. So,
Sarah, we can't see you.
what?
We can't see you.
You can't see it. Where is, oh, because it's focused on the wrong part. Thank you, Roberta. No, where am I here? What? Why can't I see my hand?
There it is.
There it is.
Lift your
All
hand.
right.
A little higher.
Oh, this doesn't want to be at this level. All right. So sometimes, depending on the fabric, and you just kind of have to feel it, you fold a pleat and a pleat, so it's like an S curve, and you press it with a ton of steam, and then you do the same thing going the other way. So it's folded. I'll redo it if it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So it's folded kind of like a tissue.
Okay, gotcha.
Wait.
But you're doing both layers at the same time.
I do both layers and I fold up. So it's two folds.
Wait, I'm sorry, on the bottom you're folding up times 2?
I do it 1 and 2.
But where's
Sometimes I
the,
have
on
like,
the bottom?
what, Lois?
where are you folding? I'm not getting, on the bottom up, the bottom up?
I find it a little easier to do the bottom up. I just flattened it out. So I fold it towards the center. And so there's like a little fold on the bottom and a fold on the top. And then I do it coming down from the top.
Oh, okay.
It's a little like folding a fan, but you do it in two different directions. Does that make sense?
It was very helpful. I think we did it.
So you're folding the corner, the side corners, and then the straight across? The
No,
side corners on the front? What?
I fold it up and down.
Oh,
Okay,
I
like
folded it differently. I just folded it up. You're
Is
folding
it
it
So
like
just press it again. The nice thing about cotton is you can just like keep pressing it and unpressing it until it works.
Show
So
the fold again.
Is that's what it looks like after you've, I mean, when you fold it, right?
Yes.
The edges are going out.
yeah. And you press it because otherwise sewing it is going to be like you'll be cursing like a sailor.
Oh, so
No.
that's what you mean by an S curve. It kind of like goes out.
It looks like an S.
But the back is flat, right?
The what?
The back
No.
doesn't.
You fold both layers at once.
Right. So, but the back doesn't feel like it has an S curve. The back feels like it.
Back has a different shape. The
Yeah.
back is pleated like this. So it looks, oh, let me just, sorry.
I don't think my back is right.
My
The
back is
back will look different than the front. This
Yeah.
is-
Okay. Okay. I get it.
And the front looks like tissues.
Yes.
yes, got it.
Okay. This is great.
Can you
Sarah-
show me the side, like I was showing you the side?
I need to see it and I didn't hear you.
Hold on. Okay, I folded mine like that, so
Yeah.
that's the back, it's flat.
Um,
Is that wrong? I don't understand.
it's not, you
I
know
missed
what?
something.
So to refold it so there's, you have, it's like a big section here on the back. So shift it around a little bit.
So can I see yours this way, on from the end?
This is from the end.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sarah, is this right? Let me show you. The front, I think, is right. But the
Beautiful.
back,
Perfect.
back, I'm not
It's great.
sure.
It's great.
Okay.
Now, also these masks will probably be reversible, which is a nice thing.
Sarah, I'm confused. Did you do your elastic, your side things and casing? You've already done that and sewed in the elastic?
The elastic,
No, not yet.
no,
And the-
wait, ask your question again, Lois.
You didn't attach the elastic yet, is that correct?
No, that happens in 2 steps.
Okay. This is so exciting.
So we're at this stage.
Okay.
This is Jed's shirt and Mrs. Novik's tablecloth.
Yeah.
And then the next stage is also going to need, I think will work better with visual explaining rather than word explaining, or maybe a little bit of both. So do you all have, are all of your masks folded and pressed? Okay.
Almost. Right.
So with some of this, you're going to have to guess a little bit. Because if like mine, they're 2 different lengths, right? So the sides on one side are a little longer. So you just kind of have to look and pay attention and kind of figure out what to do. So I'm going to my ironing board. Oh, now I really sound like a lady on TV. Press it again. And okay, let me move the iron so you can see. you do the littlest fold that you can, and I'm thinking that it might be easier. Where's my ruler? I had it someplace. It might be easier. Oh, here's my ruler. If you put a ruler to the iron and you just turn it over a tiny bit and press it on the ruler. Clearly, if you have a plastic ruler, don't do that.
Yeah, mine is plastic.
If you have a wood ruler, that's okay. You might have, I'm trying to think of what else you might have around. You might have, like, maybe a table knife will work. Because just want like a little tiny turn, and I'll do the same thing on the other side. Don't do it with a plastic ruler.
I'll get my knife.
A piece of cardboard might work. A business card.
You know what, I'm thinking my material is too thick because it's not staying, it's not staying folded when I iron it
It doesn't
down.
have to be perfect right now because you're going to fold it again.
Okay.
Okay, let me try it with a business card. Let's see how that works.
I'm using the knife.
Oh, a business card works well.
But you do it twice?
Yes. So this helps. I know it seems very like sewing lady on TV, but if you press it before you sew it, it makes it a little bit easier. And then you have that cute contrast between the two different fabrics. But I also do that because I get bored. So the sewing sites all say use 6.5 inches of elastic. And I have found that to be not quite enough. And I'm having trouble finding the end of my elastic. So here is, so I just cut a big piece because I'm not so good at measuring. The other thing you can do, this is a jersey. I'm not sure why I bought it. I might have ended up with it by mistake. And what you can do is just cut like a couple of inch wide piece. I folded the whole 45-inch width, and you just cut it, I don't know, it's 1.5 inches. I mean, the width, I mean, don't do it like a foot, but after you've cut it, if you pull it, it kind of curls up on itself. And it makes it, it's really nice. It feels nice, and it has a bunch of stretch. So this is a synthetic jersey. If you have like yoga pants, if you have a bathing suit, or some kind of stretch pants, you can cut. I don't want to cut my workout pants because don't. But
Put that in before you sew it up?
you should cut that before you sew it up because you're going to stitch it in. You're going to lay the elastic stuff in so you don't have to thread in the elastic later, which, like, if you don't mind doing that, that's fine, but I find it to be an annoyance. I hate threading elastic. So I'm going to cut 2 honking pieces. I folded it in half. And this is going to be my elastic for this. And now I have to find my sample.
Sarah, when we do the folding up of the sides,
Yeah.
do we do it so that the underside fabric is folded over, or do we do it so that it's more of the main fabric?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So what I did was I stuck the elastic all the way over because I don't want to sew through it. Because if I do, it's not going to work so well. And if any of you have sewing machines, it's just quicker and easier with the sewing machine. And you stitch and don't stitch through the elastic. And you see I have a little bit of raw edge showing, and we're going to pretend that it's not. And I keep pushing I don't want to, or probably a back stitch would be better. I don't want to sew through the elastic because it will give it less flexibility.
And Sarah, how about how long was that piece of elastic?
That long?
Okay.
But, you know, and then you can adjust it, or if you give it to, this is from my elbow to there.
Okay.
And are you going to tie it in 2 places behind your head?
Well, this is just one side. I'll show you when I'm done what I do.
Okay, I'm going to have to go to Minion now, but I'm going to call you later, okay?
Okay, but at the end, whoop, you just tie a knot.
Okay. I can't see it.
I'll get it, I'll get it, I'll get it.
Okay. And then is that going to go around your ear?
Yep.
Do you think that going around the ear is better than going to the back of your head?
If you are medical personnel, I think they want it above your head. I think anything that ties gets untied. I don't know.
Okay, I was just curious about that.
I find that this works. I mean, we wear them all the time.
Good. Okay, I'm going to go for now and I'll call you later. Thank you
Okay.
so much. This was awesome.
Bye, Naomi.
Good.
Nice to-
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Naomi.
Bye.
And you can use your, here, I'll move it down. Now, really, you can kind of pull it up as you work so that you're not stitching through the, oh, it's a little thick where all the first one I'm doing where I'm hand stitching it. So where the fabric is really thick, it's a little tricky. So you have to sew on both sides of the fabric, you know, as opposed to just, you know, running the needle in and out. Now I'm going to knot it. And then when you're done, I did it for Naomi, I'll undo it and I'll redo it. You just tie a knot. And you can move that, you can move the knot so it's comfortable for you. And I have my sample here where I did one from before. And I like using the business card to help turn it. Has anyone, how are you doing, Judy?
So the battery died, so I'm a little behind, but that's okay. I can always catch up with you. I'm still sewing the 2 pieces together, so I'm a little behind.
So Sarah, I suppose if you were really tricky, you could bury that knot inside the little
Absolutely.
spot that you were stitching up there.
Right. You can pull it in. It's a little tight in there, but whatever. You can make it look a little fancier. And
All right, Sarah, so I'm standing up. Can you see me?
yay, you did it.
Yeah, so, all right, so, but then how does it open up? Oh, I guess it opens up like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm taking out my hearing aids because.
But it was much bigger before. Now I feel like it's, I must have sewed it closed so that now it's too small.
But once it's on, it actually, oh, once you put it on,
All right, I'm gonna tie the backs.
And Sarah, when you put it on, the first thing we did, it's on the top, right? That folded.
yes.
Yes.
Actually, I put this one on upside down. Now let me show you another thing. If people wear glasses, then wearing a mask tends to fog up.
Right.
So what you can do is add, and I have it here. This is broccoli wire. You can add in a strip of broccoli wire at the top.
Oh, you mean the twisty?
A twisty broccoli
Yeah.
wire,
Yeah, yeah.
wire from a bag of coffee,
Sure.
and you just stitch it. And if you do it so it can kind of slide in and out, so when you wash it, this probably shouldn't go through the wash. Let me see if this will work. Just slipped in. And also inside you put a coffee filter, whether it's, you know, go to the 99-cent store and get cheap coffee filters, like the ruffly kind. Let's see if it'll work just slipped in here.
What about like a paper towel?
What?
Like a regular paper towel? A regular paper towel?
You could try paper towel.
And what's
Sarah, how do you slip the filter in like nicely? And
Okay, I'll be right back. I'll get a coffee filter. So initially, when I first started to make them, I had thought, oh, what you need to do is cut the coffee filter. And I was wrong. So all you do is you open up the top and you just strip it in.
Okay.
And the idea of the coffee filter is that, I mean, you need that inside to kind of filter stuff a little bit. Is that, it's just like an added layer?
It's the filter.
Filter.
It's supposed to keep out the bad stuff. If you wear glasses, if you tuck it under your glasses, it fogs up a little bit less.
Right.
But you need to only breathe through your nose if you do that.
You know, I don't see the pleats on mine that I see sometimes like the, well, maybe those are the pleats. Maybe I just made it too tight or something. Like the, you know how some of them look like they're pleats like that and then they open up?
Wait, I need to see it.
Well, so I did that in the back. And then this is the front. So when I put it on, it opens.
Yeah.
Okay. And I got.
You might need to adjust the elastic. That looks good.
Yeah, kind of tight. Kind of
So,
like, right?
so loosen the elastic.
Yeah, okay.
That's why you have the knot there, so you can make it any size you need it to be.
Right.
Sarah, how do you put in the broccoli wire again?
How do we put the
Broccoli wire in again?
There were a couple of ways you can do it. Let me find my needle again. One thing you could do is if you want to be a little fancy, you can add a little strip of fabric to add like a belt, act like a belt loop. If you have, I mean, we could think about different ways to do it. I had in some of them stitched it in with that initial fold over.
Ah, okay.
So you can do that. I'm a little concerned about rusting, but I'm going to try something else right now. So what I'm going to do is thread in a double layer of thread. So when I'm stitching, it's going to be 4 strands. And tie a knot in the bottom. And what I'm going to do is put this down again. I did. Oh, that's too close. All right. So I'm just going to stitch around the wire most of the way over. Just do a couple of stitches. One, two, and I'm going to knot it off.
Oh.
And then I'm going to do it on the other side. We'll see if I have enough thread here to do that. I didn't measure this. I didn't do it evenly, but and I would also probably suggest that you fold over this little stitch thing because otherwise it's going to fall off. I didn't have quite enough thread to knot it, so but I just kind of faked it. So I'm bend it over here and I'm bending it over here so it doesn't fall out. I'm kind of figuring this out as I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I have to take out my hearing aids because otherwise they'll pop out. It fell down. Okay.
Oh, so, oh, right, so it folded to shape. No. Right. That's nice.
And I mean, you could also use like a piece of folded tinfoil. It won't last that long, but so what?
And is the idea that then it kind of just closes that area on the top. So
right, so it's a little bit safer and it also doesn't fog up your glasses.
I was gonna try some pipe cleaners.
Great. I mean, like electric wire. What else do you have around that's wire and will bend? Ideally, it's something that wouldn't get disgusting in the wash. Now, when you wash the mask, because these are, if you forget to take the filter out, it will wash. It's probably better to do it in a washing machine. And at some point in the process, you need to apply heat. So either hot water or a hot dry. Hey, Nancy, that looks great.
wow.
That looks fabulous.
Huh?
Or if you want your mask to look gorgeous, you can iron it afterwards. So that gives the heat and it kills like all the like between the detergent and the heat, all the coronavirus will be dead because you don't want to keep, taking your coronavirus filled mask and sticking it back on, like, and causing yourself more damage. And also, if you lend it to somebody else, it's got to be cleaned first. Like if you're hand washing it, at least like boiling water over it at some point. I would think that you would want to make the wire removable because like if you use broccoli wire, it may rust.
So how would you make it removable? Oh, you'd have to have an opening on the side to pull it out.
Well, you made those belt loops. things.
Right, or you could always just re-sew it. I mean, it's 2 seconds of sewing.
Right.
I mean, it will work without the wire, but it's a little nicer with the wire.
Right.
Nancy, that looks so good. And you can also play with fabrics, which, once you make a lot of them, it's fun. So this checkerboard is my shower curtain. like an old shower curtain. This is fabric Dina bought a million years ago for a project she never did. This is fabric I bought in Israel that has verses from Shir Shirim on it and a batik. This is someone's hankies. If you use handkerchiefs, you can use the printed ones. And if there's a lot of cut work in the hanky, don't use it. Like all that opening is bad for the coronavirus, it lets it in. You know, this is, you know, Mrs. Novik's tablecloth and the thin cotton batiste that I had, you know, and they're all slightly different sizes. And, you know, like there's no regulator stopping you to say, oh no, that's the wrong size. You know, your nose and your mouth need to be covered and you need to be able to breathe.
I'm going to have to get off. I want to thank you all.
Okay, and you'll be able to rewatch it if you have questions or just
Yes.
email.
How will we know? Be on Daron? Is it going to be the
Yeah.
Ansche Chesed site?
Yeah, like this is a rayon t-shirt fabric for the ties.
Uh-huh. Ah.
So you can cannibalize old workout clothes.
Uh-huh.
We will put it somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where yet, but it will go up someplace.
And then you'll announce, I mean, we'll know where.
I will make sure to let people know as well as we can. Keep an eye out.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Good to see you
Bye-bye.
back.
Yes, yes. Good to see everybody.
Thank you, Jen.
Bye.
So if people have any other questions or, you know, just be in touch.
Okay, thank you. That was great.
Yes, Sarah. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so glad you guys came.
How wonderful to do this. So amazing.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make another one, so maybe the other one will come out like a little bit better.
They will always come out better.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I have so much yarn that I thought maybe I would braid yarn and make that the string.
Yes, but you might want to do that as longer string that you tie one on top of the head and one behind your neck.
Yeah, I could do that. I have tons of yarn.
Right, so
Yeah.
you would twine it.
Right.
Just be sure that you can undo it because sometimes yarn is kind of catchy.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I'll braid the yarn and then, yeah, I understand what you're talking about.
Right, because you don't want it to strangle you to death. We like you.
Pull my hair out or something else like that.
Right, that's why the rubber band's bad. It's good for bald people.
All right. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank
Bye.
you, Sarah. Talk to you soon. Love you.
Okay.